So, welcome to this course. This is the first course about the CPI, and I hope that you took time to watch the two videos I sent you. So now we are going to use the new course I've sent you, and we start from page 43. And it's quite simple, don't worry about this. So we are talking about the consumer price index, so the CPI, and the purchasing power. I'm going to read and explain the way to calculate the CPI. First of all, the consumer price index, it's a measure of the general price level. So it is used and calculated in Switzerland by the Swiss National Office for Statistics in Neuchâtel, based in Neuchâtel, okay, and they calculate the CPI, in other words, the evolution of prices each month. So this measure is derived by monitoring the price of many individual commodities, goods, and combining them together in one index number. That's important to see that a lot of calculus are done, calculate each month, and at the end we find only one number. So by then looking at the rise or fall in the index, we are able to see how prices change and consequently how the value of money alters. In Switzerland, the main indicator of annual changes in the level of consumer price is the CPI, Consumer Price Index. The question is now how to compute the price index, and let's have a look on a simplified model. Now, suppose in a country that we have only three goods, A, B, and C. In this table, you'll find the three goods, A, B, C, and two periods, period 1 and period 2. For the period 1, the price of the good A was 15, and for the good B, 45, good C, 250 francs. For the second period, the prices has moved like this, so 15 goes to 18, 45 to 49.5, 250 to 350. The idea, the first step, that we already saw that, but anyway, is to put an index for the first period. And it's always the same. For the first period, the index is always equal to 100. It's more easy. So if the price is 15, let's fix the index for the first period to 100. 45 is 100, 250, 100. So the simple average is the mean, moyenne, it's equal to 100. For the second period here, you have the prices that has moved, increased. They all increase, by the way, and you will calculate the new index for the second period. The only way to calculate this is to use the rule of 3. So for the first period, 15 francs is equal to 100, and then 18 is equal to X, the unknown number, and you find 120. And you do this for the next years, next goods. So as we already saw during the lessons, you have the new indexes, and that's easy to see that for the first index it was 100 and now it's 120, so we can see that there is an increase of 20% of all of the price of the good A. For the good B, the index goes from 100 to 110, so the price of good B has increased by 110, and for the good C we goes from 100 to 140, so there is an increase of 40%. So when we calculate the mean, just add 120, 110, 140 divided by 3, and we find 123.3, which is a mean of the increase for the three goods. So we can conclude that the prices of the all goods in this very special country with only three goods, so the index goes from 100 to 123.3, so we face an increase of 23.3%. But as we already saw that, it's an increase on 23.3%, but there is a big problem. The problem is that we are not using a weight to see that we are maybe buying more of good A than good B or C, or more of good C than good B or A. So we must put a weight to each goods, and that's what is written here. So there is a still huge problem to handle. The many different commodities must be allotted an importance or weight. A 10% rise in the price of bread would have a very different effect upon the average household from the effect of the same percentage rise in the price of cars. So in other words, we are going to calculate a new table with weight. So in this special example, we suppose that an inquiry by households has shown that people in the country spend 40% of their income buying good A, so 40%, 50% for the good B, 50%, and 10% for the good C there. Now we have put give a weight for each goods, and we are able to make this new table. So you have the prices, you have the index, period 2, and now the weight. To find the last weighted index, the last column, as we saw, we are just going to calculate 120 times 40%, and you find 48. 110 times 50%, which is equal to 55, and 140 times 10% is equal to 14. So obviously the total of the weight is always equal to 100, and you just add the three weighted index, 48 plus 55 plus 14 is equal to divided, add this. So the new weighted index is equal to 117. So when we have given a weight to each good, the new index is more representative of the situation. Instead of having an increase of 23.3%, we now have 17% of increase. So what is new now is the CPI weights. That's the last edition, and this is it's in French because it doesn't exist in English right now. But you have the different weight. In other words, it's a mean of the expenses of the households in Switzerland. So the highest category is the housing and energy. This one, it's 25.149%. In other words, the mean of the expenses for each Swiss households are spending money from 1/4, un quart of the spending is for the housing. The second category is this one, health, and the third one is I think transports, and this one is also important. This is the first one. It's the food and non-alcoholic beverage. So you have all the name in French here, and the translation is over here. That's the latest figures. Please just know the first three. The most important are the first three. This is the situation, the panier type, we call that in French. It is what in Switzerland all the households are going to buy in general. And forget this page, this one, forget it. It's the how the different weighted weighted index are moving from one year to another. So that's important. And this is the last handout I wanted to show you is an example of what we can get from the Swiss statistics. It's called the Indice des prix à consommation, the CPI base month is December 2015, and when you set a base date, you fix it at 100. So if it was December 2015, it's this one, it's 100. I'm sorry, it's very small for the video, but anyway, if the numbers, for instance, if we compare December 2015 with December 2005, so 10 years before, the index goes from 100 to 98.6. So there is an increase between December 2005 and December 2015. And if we compare, December 2015 and 18, December 2018, this one, for instance, and we can see that the index goes from 100 to 101.5, okay? So there is an increase in prices between these two periods. So now for the next lesson, you are going to use this table and just do these four very simple exercises regarding this table. So first is to compute the inflation rate on July 2018, compute the inflation rate on year 2018, the average inflation rate on year 2018, and fourth question, knowing that the inflation rate was 1.5% in December 2007, compute the CPI on December 2007. Good. So that was an introduction. We discussed this already in the classroom, but now we can continue with these sheets. Good. So good luck, and for the next lesson I will show you how to calculate this with a small video. Okay, thank you for your attention. Bye bye.